Welcome to the Circle of M. I am your host, Marcus Smith II. We are back with a season 4. This season will be a little bit different. We're partnering up with A&M Sport. Make sure, if you haven't already, please subscribe to our channel. We send out dope content, and we want to continue to push this message forward of, mental health and the state of what our athletes need and how they need them. I have a good friend with me here today, my guy Donnell Brown, who obviously went to, St. Francis University. But then because you being an All-American, you also was able to get a scholarship at the University of Maryland. So now you play for the University of Maryland, man. So how are you doing today, bro?
Doing pretty good, just trying to maintain, stay motivated, stay locked in, that's all. Yeah,
so even through you being able to stay locked in, stay motivated, you come to the gym, you train with Aaron, you're trying to get your technique down and everything that you're doing. Man, what's it been like training at A&M Sports and Fitness, bro?
Just for me, it's just kind of just trying to stay on just maintain a good workout schedule and just try to keep getting as much football knowledge and life knowledge as I can coming here and just getting better every day because I know 2021, like coming up, and then we had like that all season 2022. That was probably the hardest year that I ever worked. So and it ended up paying off for me. So it was cool.
So 2021, you said it was the hardest year you ever worked.
Like I know after that 2021 season, I kind of just tapped in and because I remember like last year, like as a football team, we came up short in a couple games. So that's kind of like decided like the fate of our season. So I mean, like that whole off season, just leading up to this season, like this past season just happened. It was a lot that went into it. It was a lot of sacrifice that went into it. So only because I wanted to see different outcomes change, in the game or whatever. So
do you feel like you became like the leader that you kind of like always thought about?
Yeah, I did.
In your head, have you always wanted to be that leading force for your team to kind of like help them get to victory?
I mean, at one point I really didn't, but like it came to a moment where I kind of like not needed to, but I wanted to, only because I mean at St. Francis, we have this kind of thing where people come and people go, and then it's like every year we get a lot of people leave and get a lot of people that come in. So I mean, I was just fortunate to be in that situation as far as like a lot of older guys leaving and got a lot of younger guys coming in, and you got to step up and get them ready. So it was nice to kind of be that mentor for them and kind of just lead them, try to lead them in the right way.
That's what you like. That's what we need, as players, and what I do as a life coach. I want to continue to like push that and try to help you lead in the right way. And you understand, like most of the time, you have to learn how to follow before you can lead. So when you come into a different organization, when you come into something at first, you kind of have to fill the room out.
Just observe.
Right. You kind of have to see like, okay, who is who? And sometimes, the best leading is by leading by example. Mm-hmm. So when people see you coming in here and working, they see the videos, because, Tank posting videos like every 3 days, you know what I'm saying? He posts 3 videos per day. Mm-hmm. So when people see that, they see the work. So when you come in, they like, they want that sauce. They want that same stuff that you have. But I want to go back. I want to go back to when it all started for you. Like what was your love like when did the love for the game start for you as far as football?
I'd probably say in middle school, because at first I love basketball for the most part. So
people don't really understand that like you played basketball and could have went and played basketball too, right? Or no?
I mean, I probably could have went D2 and played basketball. That's it. I mean, because I know, like, coming up, I was always the biggest guy on the team, so I had to be the big man. So, and I know now I'm 6'3", that's a guard. So it's like I really didn't, like, the time didn't add up for me to kind of, like, train and get there. I could have if I put my mind to it, but it was like football was coming so fast, so, I had to take it. So, but I started falling in love with football right after I quit, and then I got in the car with my dad. And then he just looked at me with so much disappointment, so I was a little sick off that. So I went back home, and then I slept on it. And then the next day we had practice, so I was like, "Dad, I'm trying to go back to practice." So I went, and then we ended up winning the championship that year. So it was cool. And then after that, like,
So you made a great decision.
yeah, like fifth through eighth grade, we always won the championship. Sixth through eighth grade, we always was in Florida in December. We could never get like the number one team in the countryside, but we always got there and tried to get it done. So it was cool.
Man, it's something about like your fathers, our fathers being our hero. You know what I'm saying, and not wanting to let them down. And the fact that you guys got in the car, it wasn't necessarily him making you feel like that, but you just felt like, dang, like, why am I stop playing? Like, why would I do that?
He spent so much money on it, and he was pulling for me, and he moved a lot of mountains for me to even get on the team. So it was kind of like,
Then y'all end up winning the championship.
Yeah.
So it was the right move. It was kind of God's way of telling you, like, hey, man, let's go for it, and you end up winning the championship.
Mm-hmm.
Now, all of us, like even me, we dealt with some form of anxiety just playing football, just the jitterbugs of being out there on the field. We talked a little bit offline about like my situation when it came to a divorce, and you had a situation where your parents they got into a divorce, but at the same time, people don't really hear the uphill battle and the good part about a divorce. And you was talking about how your parents kept it together, and I want people to hear that. Like, even though you had anxiety about your brother and your sister, your family kept it together. What was that like for you?
I mean, just by seeing the example, because my mom, my dad, my godmother, my grandmother, grandfather, my other grandmother, like everybody. Oh, and my cousin Joan,
huge support system.
So they try to keep everything together. They weren't perfect. They did what they had to do to keep the family moving. So that's what they did. But I mean, just seeing like who they were, like those are actually like good people.
Right.
And it's like, if you ask anybody that know me, people like they love my mom, my dad, like they love my family, because like they just make them feel like like we're family. So
right.
It's cool. It's pretty cool. It was just a good way to see that like people can actually work together to kind of like put their minds together to get a common goal. So it was cool.
That's what's up, man. Because people really don't hear that side of it. It's usually always like there's a disconnect between the father and the mother when a divorce happens, because the father goes his separate way, and then the mom tries to do everything she can to keep the kids away from the father. But you guys kept it tight, and look at you today. Like you're able to flourish, you're able to do so many things. Like, have you ever, playing football, right, have you ever like been in a game and like you just had like these jitters and there's anxiety crazy before the game, and then like the first play, like
go away. I mean,
away.
It's always like that, especially going to like one of those bigger games. Like I remember we played like Delaware, and then we played who did we play? Akron. Play Akron.
Okay.
That was a jitter game right there, because I remember I came off. We backed them up into their end zone, so they was like on a 2. And then I came off. I beat the tackle inside. I could have had a sack for a safety, but I didn't bend back. Yeah. So it was one of those where I kind of needed like those kind of plays to kind of keep me going. So it was cool.
Man, so having anxiety is normal. You know what I'm saying? People that kind of like come through the gym, we'll sit there and we'll talk about like different spirit of moments, different anxiety moments, right? And if you're not careful, anxiety, right, bro, it can take you into a whole like depressed state, right? So it's important to understand that anxiety is always going to be there, right? It's not going to move. It's not, whatever you do in life is going to come up at some point, because it's like you're thinking about what's to come. You're thinking about the next move.
What's next, yeah.
Right, and so I think with anxiety, it plays a huge factor in the sports, and I want kids and people to understand, like, look, anxiety is normal. It is a normal thing. But like, let's go to you was in high school. You did your thing in high school. Obviously, football was your sport, and so I remember you started to come to Aaron probably.
It was from my transition from going from senior year to college. Right. If I probably went like before.
It was because we started at AR, right? You started at AR, and I remember like when you first started, to where. Woo, I mean, when you first started to where you are now, I mean, that's commendable for the hard work you put in. But then also my brother, I feel like he the GOAT. And, you know what I mean? But you went to St. Francis. What were your goals going into St. Francis? Like, what was your thought process going into that situation? Like, what did you want?
I mean, because coming out of high school, I was a top 30 recruit in Maryland. And it was just, I was second team All-Met. It was just a lot of, like, everybody kind of always reminded me, like, oh, they got this guy going to this school. And it's like, oh, you're not committed nowhere, this, that, and the third.
Right.
So St. Francis came, I went to this camp. I forgot what the camp was called, though, but it was like a little showcase or whatever, and it was there. And I really didn't know nothing about St. Francis except for my high school. Like, one of my high school coaches, they went there, and then he was just telling me, like, hey, if they hit you up or whatever, then, you know, you might as well go if nothing else comes. So, you know, it was 3 days before signing day or whatever, so they came and then they contacted me, they offered me. I went up there for like 2 hours, and I really didn't get like a chance to go on like any kind of official visit, like anywhere, like any school. So it just happened. So I went up there. I kind of just went with the mindset, like I just wanted to play. And I feel like that's the mindset everybody has going into college.
Right.
But like most of the time, like that's not really like what happens.
Yeah.
So I wanted to play.
Kind of have to work your way up.
Yeah, work my way up, because I felt like everybody kind of like wrote me off. You know, because I kind of like sagged back because like I was a like top this, top that, but then I ended up at FCS school and then NEC by that, like, you know what I'm saying? So,
but hold on though, hold on. Let's, you know, it was a way to humble you, right?
And I felt good about that,
right? It was guys' way of humbling you, but at the same time, you know, top 30 recruit going into it, you felt like people wrote you off, and then you go to, you know, FCS. You know, you go to a St. Francis, but then you get there, you work your way up, and you ball.
That's so I redshirted my first year.
Okay.
Played 4 games.
Right. And you ball. And, like, what was that feeling like, you know, actually getting your win and doing something that you love to do and you know, proving yourself right first and then proving the doubters wrong? What was that feeling like?
Going from freshman year to, I think COVID was the next year, and then we had my sophomore year and then my redshirt freshman day, my redshirt sophomore year. So going from freshman year all the way to here, and I stayed with had my outside linebacker coach named Coach Rokas. That's my man, second grandfather. So I was with him from the time I got there to the time I left, and kind of just took me under his wing. He just showed me the way like the business goes as far as football. And then it was just like to get like that championship, and like, cause the last time they won championship was like in 2016. So to get that, and we won it outright, and we just dominated. It felt good, especially just to be a part of like a part of a program that kind of like changed the culture. Cause now it's like they can't really go back from that. So just kind of just keep moving forward and just to be like the face of a program. It was nice. It was nice.
Yeah, no, that's sweet.
Yeah,
man.
It was tough to leave because it was just the guys in the locker room and the coaches. So yeah, it was tough. It was tough
because you was a leader. And
it was a leader, face of the program.
Yeah,
you know?
People looking up to you. I mean, honestly, I've seen people go to the league, go to, you know, be a pro from any school, from HBCUs, all that. So it really don't matter, you know, where you went. But you go into your senior year, you know, your thought process, you know, I'm going to kill, you know what I mean? But then you go out there, you're All-American, right? Now you got the opportunity to kind of like do what you wanted to do in the first place. You felt like people wrote you off, but then they came back all of a sudden, right?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And you got the opportunity to sign your letter of intent with University of Maryland. So I commend you on that. But that process and that feeling, I know you had a conversation with Coach Tank about, you know, going to University of Maryland. You want to talk a little bit about that conversation and how now you're with the University of Maryland and you're actually pushing forward for your goals? I
mean, it was tough only because, like, just the situation I was in. And it's like most people, like St. Francis, it's not like a normal, like it's not like an ideal college situation. So it's like going up on an island, right? And it's like a simulation because it's like it snows from November to April, and then it's like hot it rains from like May to June, and then it's like hot until October, and then it get cold again. So I mean, It was just I just didn't want to leave my team.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So I mean,
it was a hard decision for you.
Hard decision.
But sometimes you have
gotta
to
do what you gotta do.
You have to do what's best for you.
And the coaches, they understood, like, you know, they wished me luck or whatever. So it was cool. I did right by them, so they did right by me.
So can you talk a little bit about how you come in and you've been working with Coach Tank, you've been working with Aaron for, probably like 4 years, right?
They're going on 4 years.
Can you talk about like how much that has, helped you get to where you are today as far as grinding that out?
Because I mean, I had a football IQ before I even got into college. But I mean, when I came here, y'all two kind of enhanced it. Because I remember I was supposed to train with you too, but I remember I was an outside linebacker, and then I transitioned like to fully D-line, so I went with Tank. But yeah, you guys transformed my football IQ, and you kind of just led me into the right direction. Because now I'm going from y'all to going to Chuck Smith and stuff like that, working out with pros, stuff like that. So it's just kind of seeing everything.
Chuck the OG.
Yeah, kind of seeing everything just come together, and just seeing like everything that I'm doing is kind of working, and everybody that's been in my life, like from middle school to now, it's just, it's just they're all coming together, and everything that people were saying is coming to fruition now. So it's cool to see, and especially because like I know I worked hard for it, and I didn't cheat the game.
You did not. I seen it. I seen the work.
I didn't cheat the game, so it's like my IQ kind of went up from coming here and just seeing how the business is, and seeing how the game's supposed to be played, and like different angles and different approaches that you can take to the game too. So I mean, yeah, coming here is a big benefit.
Man, I appreciate you saying that, man, because that's all we try to do. I know my brother, he's big on, he wants you to know the game. He don't want you to come in and just not ask questions.
Not even ask questions, but he just don't want you to just come in and then just do drills without even knowing like why you're doing the drills, or like do like certain moves without even knowing like why you're doing the certain movements. Like it's like little things like with y'all too, so it's cool.
Nah, that's real. Now that you at the University of Maryland, and what are your goals, and what do you want to do now? Like, what are you planning on? What's your goals for this season coming up?
Doing the same thing, just come in like I did with St. Francis. Come in, observe, to see who's in the locker room, see like how the coaches are, see what the program's about, and then just figure out like where my place is. You know what I'm saying? So once I go in and figure out what my place is, I can kind of figure out how to dominate where my place is. And once I figure out how to dominate where my place is, I can figure out how to dominate other areas of the game too. So, just coming in with a clear mind, clear soul, just try to figure everything out. And
So basically, what you're saying is, man, you coming in, you being a team player first. You coming in, feeling the vibe out, seeing where you can lead, and do the best to become a leader. Because a lot of times, man, we have, some athletes, they get into a situation, and in their head, they want it given to them, right, because they feel like that they're the player.
Or they feel like they deserve it.
Right, and no matter where you go, it's almost like starting over. Right. You got to work your way up. You got to show that you're capable first, and then you can, after that, you can show that, hey, I could be a leader. And then next thing you know, you're starting, you balling, and you're doing your thing. So my last question for you is, man, I always say that success is not a destination, but it's a mindset. So however you view success, this part of what you're doing, even working out as much as you are, right? That is the true success, right? Success is like the pain and all the stuff that you go through in order to get to your destiny. So I just want to ask you, man, what does success really look like to you?
I mean, now it's just staying in the moment, because it's hard to kind of look ahead, because every time you look ahead, it's just like you can keep doing something, and if you fall short of what you was looking ahead for, then it's like, you don't work for it no more. So you just got to keep proving yourself until you can't prove anything to anybody anymore. And once that happens, you got to be deemed like the greatest to ever do something. So, you know what I'm saying? So you just got to keep moving forward.
You talked a little bit about like before we started, you talked a little bit about like you want to be a sports commentator, you want to get into communication. So I wanted them to hear you talk about that a little bit too, because it's not always about the sport, right? It's not always about the sport. You got to have something that you also want to do after that, because our what we look at and how we see things, we always look at the sport as like, this is the only thing I'm doing. I'm focused on this. But the fact that you have something else that you want to do is commendable. And I appreciate you coming on
Oh yeah.
the Circle of M. Obviously, partnering with A&M, you know what I mean? We're doing big things, and I'm just happy that you're mentally in the right place. And know that I'm always here for you, and we'll continue to move forward as you continue to progress with your career. So I appreciate you coming, bro.
Appreciate that.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Hopefully Stephen A. Smith and Shannon Sharp can get me on the show.
That's for sure. Hey, that's real.